picture this. You're working from home, right?
Right.
You've been sitting at your desk for, I don't know, 3 solid hours.
Oh, I know this one.
Yeah, and you finally stand up to grab a glass of water.
Yeah.
You're gone for literally 2 seconds. You turn around, and your cat has completely stolen your chair.
Just curled right up.
Curled up into a perfect little croissant, looking, incredibly pleased with themselves. And if you are like most people, you probably think to yourself, well, they're just being a troublemaker, right?
Exactly.
You assume it's like a power move, this act of tiny, furry dominance.
It is the absolute classic human assumption. I mean, we see an action that mildly inconveniences us, like losing our warm seat, and we instantly project a human motivation onto it.
Like they're doing it on purpose to annoy us.
Exactly. We assume mischief or stubbornness or some sort of territorial dispute over the best piece of furniture in the house.
But today, we're going to look at some insights that just completely shatter that assumption. We're doing a deep dive into a really fascinating breakdown from the YouTube channel, Cat Moments.
It's a great channel.
It really is. The video is titled, 10 Signs That Your Cat is Lonely. Your cat may be suffering quietly. And the mission here today is to decode the subtle, totally wordless language that cats use to tell us they are feeling isolated.
Because they really don't communicate like dogs do.
Right. Unlike a dog who might actively whine at you, or bring you a leash, or shove their head under your arm, cats generally don't knock on doors and ask for help. Their cries for connection are disguised as everyday quirks. Okay, let's unpack this, starting with that stolen chair.
Huh.
Because you're telling me that stealing my office chair is not about real estate at all.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
It is entirely about scent, warmth, and just a fundamental need for security.
So it's not a power play.
No.
Yeah.
When a cat takes your spot the absolute second you leave it, they aren't trying to claim the chair to assert dominance. They are actually seeking out your specific scent profile. Because to a feline, the smell of their favorite person is biologically intertwined with their concept of safety. So by sitting in your exact spot, right where your body heat and your scent are the strongest, they are quite literally trying to close the distance between you and them the moment you step away.
I find that so endearing. It's not possession at all. It's longing.
It really is.
It immediately makes me think of a human wearing their partner's oversized hoodie when that partner goes out of town for the weekend.
Yes.
You know that feeling. You're wrapping yourself in their smell because you miss them, and their scent actually lowers your heart rate. Your cat is essentially doing the exact same thing with your office chair.
That is a perfect analogy. And the biological mechanism behind that is actually staggering when you look at it closely. I mean, humans have roughly 5 million odor sensors in our noses.
Okay.
Cats have over 200 million.
200 million. That's insane.
Right. Their entire perception of reality is built on this architectural foundation of smell. They even have a specialized structure on the roof of their mouth called the Jacobson's organ or the vomeronasal organ, which allows them to essentially taste the pheromones in the air.
Wait, taste the air. That's wild.
Yeah. So when they are seeking out your scent on that chair, they are wrapping themselves in a sensory blanket that tells their nervous system, you are safe, your protector is near.
So if they are doing this out of a need for comfort, how should we react? Because usually, I'll be honest, I just scoop my cat up, put them on the floor, and take my chair back, which now feels incredibly rude.
I mean, a lot of people do that, but the best approach is actually just to acknowledge the gesture, sit next to them for a few minutes.
Just give them a little bit of time.
Exactly. Give them a moment of proximity before you reclaim your workspace. And, you'll notice this reliance on scent goes even further into their daily routines. Think about when your cat is weaving heavily through your legs while you make dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Or when they jump up and aggressively rub their cheeks and forehead against your hand or your chin.
Oh, the face rubs. I love those. It feels so affectionate, like they are giving you little headbutts of love.
It absolutely is affection, but it's also highly functional. Cats have a network of specialized scent glands located along their cheeks, their foreheads, and the sides of their heads.
Oh, so they're leaving something behind.
Right. When they rub against you, they aren't just petting themselves using your hand. They are depositing a very specific, personalized chemical signature onto your skin.
That makes total sense.
They are actively marking you as part of their safe world. They are reassuring themselves of your bond by making sure you smell like them and they smell like you.
So how do we, like, return the
To
favor?
speak their chemical language back to them, the best response is to stroke them right along the back or behind the ears, which stimulates those same glands.
Okay, I am totally on board with the sweet stuff. The chair stealing, the face rubbing, the oversized hoodie comparisons. I get it. But there is another scent-related behavior mentioned in this breakdown that I really have to push back on.
I think I know what's coming.
Eliminating outside the litter box?
Yep.
Specifically, peeing on things that smell heavily of you, like a pile of laundry, a blanket, or a gym bag. Are you genuinely telling me that my cat peeing on my sweaty gym bag is actually a compliment?
Wow.
Because that feels like a highly targeted, premeditated revenge tactic for me coming home late.
I hear that all the time. But what's fascinating here is the biological imperative of scent for felines and how completely we misinterpret it by filtering it through a human ego.
Our own ego gets in the way.
Exactly. We see a ruined gym bag and we immediately think spite, revenge, anger. But felines do not possess the cognitive framework for spite.
They don't.
No. A cat sees an item soaked in your scent, and a sweaty gym bag is essentially a neon sign of your scent profile, and thinks, family.
Family.
Cat urine is laced with incredibly complex pheromones. When they mark your belongings, they are actively mixing their scent profile with yours. In the feline world, this is a profound bonding behavior.
You're shitting. So it's not them being mad at me.
It is an attempt to intertwine their identity with yours because they feel emotionally distant, perhaps deeply lonely, and they are desperately trying to reestablish a connection in the only language they know.
That is wild. So they feel lonely,
Yeah.
they find something that smells strongly like me, and they literally add themselves to it to feel close to me again.
That's exactly it.
It's like they're trying to physically mix our identities together. That completely reframes the frustration.
Oh,
Obviously, if a cat is peeing outside the box, the first step is always going to the vet, right?
always.
Just to make sure it's not a urinary tract infection or kidney issue.
Absolutely. Medical issues must always be ruled out first. A cat associating the litter box with physical pain will avoid it. But once you have a clean bill of health from the vet,
Yeah.
and you know the box itself is clean, you have to look at the emotional environment.
Right. Look at the big picture.
We'll have to honestly evaluate the quality time you're spending with them, because if it's not medical, it is a distress signal. It is a desperate plea for reassurance, not a personal attack.
And it seems like this idea of bridging the gap through scent is just one side of the coin. Because scent is how they hold on to us when we are just in the other room.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when we introduce an actual physical barrier between us and them? Like, how do they handle real absence?
That is where the emotional toll really becomes visible. Scent is the bridge, but a physical barrier is what truly tests their anxiety levels.
Let's talk about the closed door then,
Mhm.
because I think every single cat owner has experienced this.
Oh, undoubtedly.
It's 2 a.m., you're dead asleep, your bedroom door is shut, and suddenly your cat starts crying from down the hall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a hungry meow, it's this weird, hollow, echoing sound, almost like a yodel.
Yes, the midnight yowling. And that sound is genuine, unfiltered anxiety. To understand why a closed door triggers this, you really have to look at it through the lens of a cat's natural circadian rhythm. Cats are crepuscular creatures.
Meaning they are most active at dawn and dusk.
Right. Exactly. Their internal clocks, honed by thousands of years of evolution, are firing up and telling them it's time to hunt, patrol, and socialize right as you are winding down for deep sleep.
So his schedules are just totally out of sync.
Completely. So when night falls and you close that solid bedroom door, to a cat, you haven't just gone to sleep in the next room. To them, you have vanished.
Vanity.
Yes. A physical barrier has removed you from their territory during a time when their instincts scream that the pack should be awake and together.
Wait, do cats not understand that I'm just on the other side of the wood? Like, don't they have object permanence? Human babies learn that if you hide a toy under a blanket, the toy still exists. Do cats not know I still exist behind the door?
It's a great question. Adult cats absolutely do possess object permanence. They know you are behind the door. The issue isn't cognitive, it's emotional.
Oh, I see.
When a cat is stressed or feeling isolated, their survival instincts override their logic. In the dark, separated from their primary source of safety, which is you, their anxiety spikes.
So they're just scared.
That crying sound isn't an attempt to annoy you into waking up. It is a distress call into the void. They are calling out to see if the pack leader is going to answer, to confirm that the social structure is still intact.
That actually breaks my heart a little bit. They were just standing in a dark hallway, calling roll and hoping someone answers. How do we alleviate that anxiety without sacrificing our own sleep? Do we just have to leave the door wide open?
You don't have to sacrifice your sleep, but you do need to provide reassurance. Leaving the door cracked open just an inch or two is often enough.
Just to crack.
Yeah, because it allows your scent and the sound of your breathing to filter out into the hallway. Alternatively, you can create a dedicated, cozy sleeping spot for them right outside your door, perhaps with one of those worn t-shirts we talked about earlier.
The oversized hoodie strategy again?
Exactly. So they feel anchored to your presence even if there's a barrier.
That makes a lot of sense. But this anxiety around absence isn't just a nighttime issue, is it? We see a massive emotional response when we leave the house completely and come back. Which brings up the classic greeting at the front door.
A very important behavior.
I know when I walk in, a lot of times my cat is standing right there. Their tail is pointing straight up to the ceiling like a little flagpole, and they are doing those figure eights around my ankles.
That greeting is a crucial piece of feline vocabulary. It's important to understand the mechanics of that straight-up tail. In the wild, felines use their tails for balance, but also as long-distance communication tools.
Like signaling to each other.
Right. A tail held rigidly upright with a slight curve at the very tip is a universal feline signal for pure trust, joy, and friendly intent. If your cat meets you at the door like that, you need to realize they haven't just casually wandered over because they heard the knob turn. They've been waiting.
Hey, waiting how long? Like they've been sitting there for hours.
Possibly. They possess incredibly acute hearing. They have likely been listening for the specific frequency of your car pulling into the driveway, the hum of your specific elevator, or the unique cadence of your footsteps down the hall.
They know my footsteps.
They do. They've been building up to that exact moment of reunion.
Which means brushing past them while taking off our coats and staring at our phones is probably pretty crushing for them. If they've been anticipating this moment, how should we be greeting them?
You match their energy with acknowledgement. You stop, put your bags down, crouch to their level, and give them your undivided attention for even just 30 seconds. You validate their joy. But of course, the dynamic completely changes if they don't meet you at the door.
Right, and this is the paradox I really wanted to get into. Here's where it gets really interesting. Because what if you come home after a long trip, you call their name, and you find them tucked away in a dark closet, totally ignoring you?
The silent treatment.
Yeah. We look at a hiding cat and we usually think, well, typical cat. They're just being aloof. They don't even care I was gone. They're punishing me with the silent treatment. But the psychology behind this actually says the exact opposite. It means they care too much.
Precisely. We misinterpret the silence. What you are witnessing in that closet is not indifference. It is emotional overload.
Emotional overload.
When you have been away for an extended period, a lonely cat builds up a tremendous amount of stress. When you finally return, the sudden, overwhelming relief of your presence, combined with the lingering anxiety of your absence, is simply too much for their sympathetic nervous system to process all at once.
So they aren't giving me the cold shoulder. They're literally overstimulated by their own feelings.
Exactly. Their internal circuitry is blown. They withdraw to a dim, quiet place, under a bed, high on a shelf, deep in a closet, to regulate those intense, conflicting emotions.
Just to calm down.
They need to turn down the sensory input of the world so they can stabilize their heart rate and process the fact that their pack is whole again.
Which means the worst possible thing I could do is reach under the bed, drag them out into the bright living room, and force them to cuddle with me to make myself feel better.
It is entirely counterproductive. Forcing interaction adds a massive spike of stress to an already overloaded nervous system. You will trigger a fight-or-flight response.
So what is the correct play there? How do I let them know I'm glad to see them without overwhelming them?
You offer quiet proximity. You go into the room where they are hiding, sit on the floor a few feet away, and maybe just read a book or quietly scroll on your phone.
Just be near them.
You share the space without demanding their attention. You let them emerge and reconnect on their own terms at a pace their nervous system can safely handle.
Okay, so we've covered the passive signs of anxiety. We've looked at how they bridge the gap with scent, how they handle the stress of a closed door, and why they hide when they are overwhelmed. But anxiety isn't always passive, is it?
No, it's not.
Sometimes a cat feels so unsettled by loneliness that they start acting out in ways that feel a little more, well, wild. Let's talk about the instinctual expressions of family and territory.
This is a vital transition to make, because when passive coping mechanisms fail, the modern domesticated living room fades away, and ancient wild feline instincts take over. A perfect example of this active anxiety is a sudden destructive increase in scratching furniture.
Which, once again, is a behavior that is so easy to interpret as them just being malicious. It's incredibly frustrating to come home and find the arm of your expensive sofa shredded.
But why do they target the furniture when they are lonely? Are they just taking their frustration out on the couch?
No, it is not an act of vandalism. Scratching is a deeply ingrained biological imperative used to map out and claim territory. Yes, they are sharpening their claws and stretching their spine, but it goes much deeper than that. Cats have interdigital scent glands located right between their paw pads.
Wait, so they sweat pheromones through their feet? Essentially, yes. When they drag their claws down the fabric of your sofa, they are doing two things simultaneously. They are leaving a highly visible physical mark that says, "I was here," and they are embedding their unique chemical scent deep into the fibers.
Oh, so it's visual and chemical.
So when a cat is feeling emotionally unmoored, when they feel their connection to you is fading because you are constantly gone, they double down on their connection to the physical environment. They target the items you use the most, like your favorite spot on the couch, and they aggressively market to anchor themselves back into a space that suddenly feels insecure.
They are essentially drawing a map of their home, visually and chemically, trying to reassure themselves that they still belong there. That is fascinating. So obviously yelling at them isn't going to fix an emotional insecurity. What is the actual solution to save my couch and my cat's sanity?
Redirection and connection. You place an appropriate scratching post directly next to the spot they are targeting. You don't hide the post in the corner of the basement. It needs to be right in the social center of the home.
Put it right next to the couch.
And crucially, you have to address the root cause of the insecurity by carving out 10 to 15 minutes of dedicated interactive play every single day. You have to rebuild the bond so they don't feel the need to violently claim the territory.
And speaking of wild instincts surfacing in the living room, we have to talk about the gifts. I think everyone knows this scenario. You wake up, open your bedroom door, and there's a toy mouse, or a crumpled receipt, or a hair tie just sitting right in the middle of the hallway.
Right, the classic present.
And your cat is sitting a few feet away, watching you intensely, waiting for your reaction. So what does this all mean? Why a hair tie at 6:40 a.m.?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we are looking directly at the evolutionary roots of feline pack dynamics. In the wild, domestic cats' ancestors were often solitary hunters. However, mother cats are fiercely dedicated to provisioning for their young. They hunt, they bring prey back to the den, and they teach their kittens how to survive.
Right, the classic bringing a mouse to the porch scenario.
Exactly. But in a fully indoor environment, a toy mouse or a hair tie becomes the surrogate prey. When your cat drops that object at your feet, they are viewing you through that exact familial evolutionary lens.
They see me as family.
They recognize that you are part of their family unit, but they also recognize that they never see you successfully hunt. So in their eyes, they are contributing to the survival of the pack. It is a profound instinctual gesture of care and belonging.
I absolutely love the idea that dropping a gross, slobber-covered hair tie on my slipper is their way of saying, look, I know you're terrible at catching hair ties, so I'm providing for the family today. I'm doing my part. It is so sweet. But it also means my usual reaction, which is groaning, picking it up, and throwing it in the trash, is probably devastating for them.
It is emotionally damaging, yes. In their mind, they have offered you a vital resource. If you scold them, ignore it, or immediately discard it while they are watching, you are essentially rejecting their contribution to the family. You are rejecting their care. Over time, that kind of dismissal will cause a sensitive cat to pull away from you emotionally. You have to gracefully accept the gift, praise them, and perhaps quietly dispose of it later when they aren't looking.
It's all about validating their attempts to connect. And that emotional withdrawal is exactly what we want to avoid. Because if these early, subtle signs of loneliness, the scent marking, the hiding, the scratching, are ignored, the situation can escalate rapidly. We need to transition to the most critical part of this discussion. What happens when loneliness stops being just an emotional issue and becomes a literal medical emergency?
This is where we see the profound impact of the psychosomatic link. The emotional and the physical are not separate systems. When chronic stress goes unaddressed, the body begins to break down.
The first physical red flag that really stood out to me was over-grooming. We all know cats clean themselves constantly. It's part of their appeal. But how do we distinguish between normal grooming and stress grooming?
You look for the physical toll. If you start noticing thinning hair, actual bald patches, particularly on their bellies, their inner thighs, or their forelegs, that is a massive red flag.
Why do they do that?
The reason behind this is deeply tied to their brain chemistry. The physical act of licking triggers the release of endorphins in a cat's brain. Endorphins are the body's natural painkillers and stress relievers.
So they are basically self-medicating.
Precisely. It is a self-soothing mechanism that has spun out of control. It is no different than a human who bites their fingernails down to the quick, or aggressively twirls and pulls their hair when they are chronically anxious. The cat is feeling the persistent, gnawing ache of loneliness, and they're using the only physical tool at their disposal, grooming, to artificially flood their brain with endorphins.
Wow. So once a vet rules out a physical cause, like a flea allergy or a skin infection, how do we break that cycle?
You have to treat the emotional deficit. You break the cycle by providing alternative, healthy sources of stimulation. Engaging interactive play with a wand toy mimics the hunt and releases healthy neurotransmitters, replacing the need for the obsessive self-soothing.
But the self-soothing is only one part of the medical danger. There is something much more severe, eating less or refusing to eat entirely. Now, I have a confession to make here.
Oh boy.
I always just thought cats were incredibly picky eaters. I thought if a cat skipped dinner, it was just because they decided they suddenly hated the chicken pate or the kibble was slightly stale. I thought they were just being dramatic divas.
It is incredibly dangerous to assume a cat is just being stubborn about their food. This raises an important question about feline metabolism. A cat's body is fundamentally not designed to fast.
Oh, really?
Evolutionarily, they are obligate carnivores designed to eat multiple small meals of fresh prey throughout the day. If a cat stops eating for even 24 to 48 hours due to severe emotional stress, their body goes into a state of panic.
What actually happens inside their body when they stop eating?
Their system realizes it is starving, so it immediately starts breaking down peripheral fat reserves and sending that fat to the liver to be processed into energy.
That sounds like a normal survival mechanism.
It is for us, but here is the fatal flaw. A feline liver lacks the specific enzymes required to process large amounts of fat quickly. The liver rapidly becomes engorged and overwhelmed. This leads to a condition called hepatic lipidosis, commonly known as fatty liver disease.
And from what I understand, that can escalate from a missed meal to a life-threatening crisis in just a matter of days.
Yes, the liver shuts down, jaundice sets in, and it can be fatal if not aggressively treated by a veterinarian. And the digestive system isn't the only casualty of stress. We also have to look at feline idiopathic cystitis, or FIC.
I've heard of that. It's a bladder issue, right? But how does loneliness cause a bladder problem?
It is a fascinating and tragic loop. FIC is a severe, highly painful inflammation of the bladder. It is often not caused by a bacterial infection at all. Instead, it is directly linked to chronic, unmanaged emotional distress.
That's crazy.
When a cat lives in a sustained state of anxiety, their body is constantly pumping out stress hormones like cortisol. This constant fight-or-flight state degrades the protective inner lining of the bladder called the gag layer. Without that protective layer, the acidic urine irritates the bladder wall, causing intense inflammation and bleeding.
So their immune system and their physical barriers are literally crashing because they are sad. That is incredibly heavy. It proves that paying attention to these silent signals isn't just about making sure your pet is, happy. It is literally a matter of life and death. If your cat hasn't eaten in 24 hours, or if they are straining in the litter box, you don't wait a few days to see if they cheer up. You get them to a vet immediately.
Absolutely. You cannot separate their emotional well-being from their physical survival.
So let's pull all this together. The biggest takeaway from our deep dive today is a total paradigm shift in how we view our feline companions. Cats are not aloof, mysterious jerks who just tolerate us because we know how to use a can opener.
Not at all.
They are highly sensitive, deeply emotional creatures who are constantly speaking to us through an intricate language of actions.
From the scent marking on your stolen office chair, to the profound cognitive anxiety of a closed bedroom door, to the life-threatening physical consequences of chronic stress, everything we've discussed today, even the incredibly frustrating behaviors like shredding the furniture or eliminating outside the box, stems from a desperate desire to maintain a connection with you.
Exactly. The core message here isn't to make you feel guilty for going to work or closing a door. These signs aren't a list of ways you have failed as a pet parent. They are vital reminders that our cats truly deeply rely on us for their emotional equilibrium. So tonight, when you go home, take a closer look at what is happening around you. Is that straight-up tail waiting for you at the door, trying to tell you something? Is a cat sleeping directly on top of your laptop keyboard, just trying to bridge the gap and soak in your scent?
They don't have words, so we have an obligation to listen with our eyes. And, looking at all of this feline behavior, it makes me think about something far beyond just our pets.
Oh, yeah. We've spent this entire time exploring the strange physical things cats do when they are lonely, simply because they lack the verbal vocabulary to articulate their sadness. But think about humans for a second.
Okay.
When we feel deeply disconnected from our own pack, when we feel lonely or isolated or emotionally unmoored, we might have the words, but we rarely use them.
That's very true.
How much of our own wordless, anxious behavior, like mindlessly scrolling on our phones for hours on end, pacing the house, suddenly needing to aggressively organize a closet in the middle of the night, is really just our human version of scratching the furniture?